Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing a review on the Lucky Khaki removable padding boxing gloves. So check it out. Hey guys, Carlo here. Today I'm doing a review on the Lucky Khaki removable padding boxing gloves. Got mine in this beautiful red with white trim colorway and 14-ounce lace-ups. This is a completely custom glove, so you get to decide what colorway, size, closure type, and style of padding you want to go with. I got mine in this 1.4 millimeter thick lacquered leather exterior with a combination of foam and horsehair over the knuckles that gives it a soft to medium density. From my other videos, I'm sure you guys have seen that I'm a big fan of softer horsehair style gloves. That's just my personal preference on padding style when it comes to glove. Everybody's a little bit different, but I tend to go with the softer foams, the horsehair, just because right when you get them, they typically are more broken in and you can open and close your hand to parry and catch shots. I also like the feel of being able to really land on my two front knuckles and really place my punches with proper form. Sometimes when you get gloves that are too densely or thickly padded, or the foam they use is too dense, oftentimes I feel like your hand is in kind of a improper position, or you're not able to really close your fist all the way. And I think a lot of times people associate more padding and more thicker foams with more protection, and that's not necessarily true, because you're kind of compromising your hand position and being able to close and make a really good tight fist. So that's why I like going with the foam and the horsehair. Lastly, these gloves are manufactured by hand by Kirill in Russia. Now, Lucky Khaki is a one-man show. Kirill handmades these gloves by himself. These are my second pair of Lucky Khaki gloves. I did a review a couple of months ago, I would say maybe like half a year ago, on my first pair of Lucky Khaki gloves. And while I thought those gloves were amazing quality and I love the way they kind of felt in terms of the position of my hand and the type of padding, the one big drawback with those was the liner. And what ended up happening was a lot of the horsehair would actually poke through the liner and it would irritate my hand and my forearm. The hair would poke through and it'd be really itchy and scratchy. So that was kind of the big flaw with those gloves. So I ended up getting the second pair here. And what makes these gloves really the first of its kind, as well as being completely unique, is the fact that this glove integrates removable padding. So I actually have the right glove here as well. I delaced the glove, so it does come with these flat red laces. They're kind of like a combination of a cotton and polyester type fabric. It's very nice and stretchy and flexible, and you also have plastic tips at the end for the laces. But I did delace the glove so I can show you guys kind of the inner workings of this glove and the fact that you do have the removable padding. And you'll see here that at its thickest layer, I'd say that this padding is maybe about 2 to 2.5 inches in thickness. Again, this is a combination of foam and horsehair. The inner liner is your standard satin polyester nylon liner that's water resistant. But when you pull it down, you can see the cavity where the hand compartment is completely empty because I pulled the padding out of it. But you basically reach in here and you kind of roll the padding out. And then it has a pocket that is kind of cut open like a little sleeve to where you can actually pull the padding out of its sleeve. And this is the removable part. One thing I do want to mention before I forget is that these gloves are essentially still kind of in the testing phase, in the prototype phase. So these are not for retail yet. This is not something that Kirill has officially launched on his Instagram and through social media, but I believe he's getting pretty close to releasing these as a production model that he can offer to his customers. But I believe I had the first of its kind when it came to this removable padding, and that's definitely a game changer. Because in the future, if you wanted to go with a different type of padding on the inside of this glove, maybe you wanted something more protective, a little bit more of like a closed cell, open cell foam with EVA, you can replace it and put that inside here. So you can see it does have kind of this pocket, this sleeve, that is where the padding goes into. And then once you put the padding in, you just kind of roll it, and then you put it inside the hand compartment and kind of massage it with your hand to get it flush on the inside. So it is completely removable. The padding is all right here and is all stitched in very nicely. You'll notice that it kind of has the shape of how it forms over your hand. So essentially when you have your hand on the inside, it basically is like right here on top of your hand. And then when you make a fist, it kind of goes right over it. And I can feel the actual horsehair on this upper layer right here. And you can see where he stitched it in. Almost looks kind of like quilted, like a quilted stitch pattern. So the horsehair is right here on top and right around here, around this finger area. And then you can feel the foam on the backside that kind of rests up against your hand. But the good news is that he corrected the issue with the horsehair poking through. And he put a much more kind of comfortable, softer liner material that you see here. So there's no issues, there's nothing that irritates your hand when you have your hand on the inside of this hand compartment. It feels very comfortable. So 2 thumbs up in regards to improving that. So you do have, again, that removable padding. Now, looking at the glove on the exterior, I love the look of this leather. He describes it as lacquered leather, and it has almost like kind of like an epoxy finish, and it has a very strong lacquered smell to it. It's hard to describe, but it's not like any other leather lacquer I've seen, but it has a very kind of glossy shine to it, which makes it look very expensive in that regard. But the leather quality on here is amazing. You notice it has kind of a mild texture to the leather and kind of a wrinkly shape to it because of that horsehair on the knuckle area of the glove. But there's no crazy logos on here, no crazy design. It's just a very classic, contemporary looking glove, which I love. So you do have that. You also have reinforced welted seams in white, and the back of the wrist support and the inner wrist support is EVA foam, so it is a flat cuff. It does say C Squared Boxing, and you do have a leather tab on here that says C Squared Boxing at the very bottom. White piping at the very bottom cuff of the glove. You have about maybe an inch of EVA foam padding. It's denser on the outside, softer on the inside where it lines up against your skin. On the palm side, again, you have, I'd say, about a ½ inch of EVA on this portion of the wrist, as well as on this other side, and you can see where it starts and where it ends based on where the stitching pattern is. Again, same long flat laces with plastic tips, nice and long to where I can get enough revolutions around the wrist to lock my hand in. Again, polyester nylon satin liner, double stitching in white throughout the entire glove. You do have the white thumb piping around the bottom portion of the thumb, the base portion, and you also have a leather attached thumb at the very tip, and again, welted seams throughout. You also have a really nice, large and firm grip bar, so he does a really good job with really putting a nice firm grip bar on there, and there are no ventilated holes in this glove. So from a design standpoint, you can see just a beautiful glove. In terms of sizing for a 14-ounce glove, I'd say that this glove is more on the medium to compact size. It's not an overly huge glove, it's not super compact. I'd say it's right there in the middle in terms of sizing. The quality of these gloves are amazing. Again, I think the thing that stands out the most about this is the leather. The stitching is great as well. I mean, you can see throughout the entire glove the stitching is done nicely. Double stitching throughout. Excellent job with the welted seams all throughout the glove. You don't see any type of like jagged edges, no areas where he's gone off track with the stitching, or you can tell that they were kind of rushing to trim the leather. Everything is done meticulously with this glove. I put the gloves on the scale, and they both were pretty much on point with weight. Both gloves weighed in, I believe, at 13.9 ounces, so pretty much right there on the dot at 14 ounces, and the gloves were exactly the same weight as each other. You can see the glove distribution of weight. Whether I grab the back cuff and you hold it up, or if I grab the front, the distribution of weight is very nice, and it's not too top heavy or bottom heavy. You have the padding that distributed through the glove, but in terms of the quality, it's very nice. And again, I showed you guys the inside earlier. I mean, there's no exposed foam, no horsehair that's poking through. Everything done is done very nicely. Grip bar is sealed in and stitched in very nicely as well. Comfort wise, again, my main complaint with my previous glove was the fact that I could feel the horsehair. With this one, the liner feels very comfortable. Wrist support feels good, nice and ample. Thumb position is pretty much perfect, and the white piping right here is large enough and drops down enough to where the fat part of my thumb doesn't feel uncomfortable. When I do make a fist, it does not pull down on the tip of the thumb to where my thumb jams as I'm landing a punch. The finger compartment, I'd say, is a little bit more on the shallow side. It doesn't bother me as much because this glove is softer, but I would have liked for the finger compartment to be maybe just a little bit deeper so I can really reach in and really make that really nice tight fist. But it is a little bit more on the shallow side, but because the glove is softer and more broken in, I can make a really nice tight fist regardless. And you can see here, just from a flexibility standpoint, I can open and close my hands with relative ease. You can also feel that grip bar really nicely, but I wish the finger compartment was a little bit deeper. In terms of the width, for a 14-ounce glove, I'd say that the glove is probably like 1 millimeter or 1 centimeter away of being a little too narrow. It fits my hand perfect, but for someone that might have a little bit thicker fingers than me, I can foresee this being a little bit narrow. So for other gloves, or for other people that buy these gloves, you know, I would probably make sure that finger pocket is a little bit wider, so you don't feel like your 4 fingers here are kind of crowding against each other. There's also the leather you can feel on the underside right here, where the stitching is at. It would have been nice if you put like a piece of felt or neoprene, some type of foam, comfortable foam, just to kind of cover that, to kind of give you a secondary grip bar and not just the seam right there. But other than that, the gloves are very comfortable, and again, the thumb is in a good position as well. Protection and performance, again, like I mentioned earlier, this is a foam and horsehair glove. You get that beautiful sound that you get when you're landing those shots. It flattens out nicely because of that horsehair that's integrated into the padding. So you get a good combination of feedback. If you're using this on the mitts, it feels good. Landing your shots with the mitts on the heavy bag feels amazing as well. Is it as shock absorbent as, you know, say like a gel glove or a glove that has a few more layers of foam padding that's a little bit more densely packed? No, but that's not what you're getting these gloves for. These are a type of glove that I'd say it's kind of in the middle, but kind of leans more to the puncher's side. So for those of you that want a puncher's glove, like that horsehair feel, then these will definitely be the glove for you, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy these. Cost-wise, these gloves are currently 350 to 370 euro. When he officially releases them, that's kind of the price point that he's looking at being in. That equates to, once you convert it, at least currently, to US dollars, it's anywhere between 377 to a little over 400 US dollars. I think that's a good price for these gloves, and the reason I say that is you're getting a handmade product by one person, and this kind of falls in that same category as John Gollum, 1v1, Barrick, you know, all the other companies that, obviously Donardo out of Italy, that are made by craftsmen that are doing this all by themselves. It's not like this big assembly line of people making your glove for you. It's one person that has their eyes locked in creating this masterpiece for you. So this to me would fall in kind of that timepiece category. I like to use watches as kind of like a comparison, because I say timepieces, like you have like Rolex, and you have the Tag and Breitling and Panerai. You have these timepiece brands where the watches are like $5,000 to $10,000, $20,000 watches, and people are like, why would I spend 20 grand on a watch? Well, what you're paying for is just, it's a timepiece. So there's a level of quality and precision that goes into engineering those watches. Yes, they tell you the same exact thing as a $20 Casio. They just tell you the time, but it's just a different product altogether. And that's kind of how I equate these gloves and some of the others like Donardo, 1v1, Barrick. That these to me are more of like the timepiece type gloves that you're getting here. So a lot of people might say, well, you know, for 400 I can get Winnings, or I can get Grants, or I can get 2 pairs of Rivals, I can get 2 pairs of... You totally can. I mean, it's your money. You can do however you want. But this is just that kind of glove that lands in that category. So if you want something premium, you want something different that nobody else has, and you're just a fan of this type of glove, then I definitely think it's worth it. You know, you're getting just a beautiful crafted glove with the quality and care made by one person, by Kirill. So definitely enjoy using these gloves. I'd say that these are probably one of my favorite mitt work gloves in my rotation. I like using these for the heavy bag, doing like Cobra Bag work with these, but where these really shine to me are on the mitts, and you just get that, you get a really great feel when you're using these. It makes you actually want to do mitt work even more because of how satisfying these gloves feel when you use them. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know what to do. Put them down below. I'll put the link in the description box to Kirill's Instagram page. That's currently how he operates. You can go through his social media. He also, I believe, does WhatsApp to check out what he has to offer, and you know, possibly create your own glove and order them from Kirill. But overall, I'm very satisfied with these gloves. I'll see you guys later. Take care.